All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. If more people join in, that's awesome. I'm also going to put a video of this so that if people aren't able to access right now, they can get it later. So this week's lesson is about finding music in everyday life. So what we're going to be doing is learning some music vocabulary to describe tempo and volume. And then you're going to observe sounds around your house or just outside your house and apply the music vocabulary to those sounds. So we're going to be able to categorize everyday sounds according to music vocabulary. So our first video we're going to watch is about tempo. Tempo is the music word that describes how fast or slow the music is. So I've listed the most common tempo that we find in music. This would be written at the top of the score, which is the written music notation. And the reason why we need this is because a lot of the composers aren't around anymore, and they didn't have the technology to record themselves playing a video of their performance. So we don't know how fast they wanted it, but these words describe the feeling. So this is about tempo.
The speed at which a piece of music is played is known as the tempo. Oftentimes the composer will write a tempo marking above the first bar of a piece to tell us how fast or slow to play. From quickest to slowest, the most common tempo markings are presto, allegro, allegretto, moderato, andante, adagio, and largo. Presto tells us to play fast. Allegro, from the Italian merry or cheerful, tells us to play quick and lively. Allegretto tells us to play slightly slower than allegro, fairly quick and lively, if you will. Moderato, as the name implies, tells us to play at a moderate speed. Now, andante means the music should be at ease, played at a walking pace. Adagio tells us to play slow and leisurely, and largo tells us to play slower again and broadly. Now, my idea of what, say, largo is may be totally different to what your idea of largo is. So if a composer wants to be absolutely sure that their piece is played at a very exact tempo, they might decide to add in a metronome marking, like so. This particular metronome marking tells us that there are 60 crotchet beats per minute. Or, in other words, the tempo of the piece is given by a metronome set ticking at 60 beats per minute. One tick per crotchet. FYI, these are the metronome marks that roughly correspond to the tempo markings from earlier. Anyways, sometimes the music will need to change speed during the piece, particularly towards the end. When this happens, the composer can use words like writ or ral, which kinda confusingly both mean to gradually get slower. The distinction between the two is kind of nitpicky. Writ, short for ritardando, means to get slower. Ral, short for rallentando, means to gradually get slower. See, what did I tell you? Very nitpicky. Now we can modify these terms by adding words like poco, the Italian word for little, and molto, the Italian word for much or very. So poco rit would require us to play a little slower, and molto ral would require us to gradually get much slower. On the flip side, accelerando, aka accel, tells us to get gradually faster. And of course we can add poco and molto if we so desire. And let's see, one more for today. A tempo, meaning back to the original speed. A tempo basically cancels out things like rals and accels. Music quiz! So here's a piece of music.
So if the composers want to be really exact about how fast the piece is going to be, they'll put that metronome marking. So 60 beats per minute, you can think of the ticking of a clock. It goes 60 times for each minute because it's a 60 seconds per minute. So that would be 60 beats per minute. So it sets how fast the beat is going. Some of the words have similar sounds or roots to English words, and that helps you figure it out as well. Like moderato. Moderato looks like moderate, so that can help you figure out what that means. It's a medium tempo. Next, we're going to learn about dynamics. Those are describing how loud or soft the music should be. So you see these in music, they're italicized, that means they're slanted, and then they're bolded, that means they're thicker. So these match words that will describe how loud or soft. We need these words in music because a lot of instruments don't have volume knobs that you can just turn up the decimals. So instead you have to either like put more air through your voice or press harder on a key or strike the drum harder to make them louder. So we're going to watch this video about dynamics.
Composers often include signs that control the volume at which the player executes a certain part of the music or the whole piece. These volume indications are called dynamics. Traditionally, we use Italian words handed down to us from centuries of classical composers based in Italy to show how loudly or softly to play a passage. The most basic dynamic indications include piano, meaning soft. Yes, this is the same word as the instrument. And part of the reason the piano got its name was that it could play loudly and softly, something most earlier keyboard instruments couldn't do. Piano dynamic indications are shown in most scores with an italicized, bold P. Forte means loud or strong. It comes from the same Latin root as the English word for force or forceful. It will be shown in scores with an italicized, bold F. For in-between dynamics, we can add an M for mezzo or middle before the F or P to indicate mezzo forte or mezzo piano. And you can even make a piano or forte more extreme by piling on the P's and F's. So two P's like this will indicate pianissimo or whispery soft. And if you want something very, very loud, you can write fortissimo or two F's.
So basically, if you think about it, the P's mean soft, the F's mean loud, and then the M's just mean like medium or middle. Next, we're going to talk about crescendo. This video is really annoying, so I'm not going to play it. Crescendo just means that it's going to gradually get louder. So imagine something coming towards you would be getting louder. Decrescendo is gradually getting softer. So imagine something going away from you would be gradually getting softer. So, what language do all these music terms come from? This is what the country looks like. It's a European country.
Ain't that Italian food? All that Italian stuff?
Yeah. Yep, from Italy. So we got pizza from them and pizza.
And we got spaghetti.
Yeah. Oh man, that sounds really good. I'm getting hungry now.
Me too, bro.
I'm spaghetti.
So, the reason why music terms are Italian is because in Europe, a lot of classical music was written by Italian people that were living in like the 1700s, 1800s, and now it just kind of became a tradition. Some American composers and English composers started putting like they use English terms to describe how fast, but it's also pretty common to just use the Italian ones. So
can we do some examples? I want to do some examples where we like it's panissimo, fortissimo, like that.
Yeah, so you're one step ahead of me. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna do some examples, And then afterwards, I'll show you how to do the worksheet. So imagine a bird chirping outside your window. How loud do you think the bird would be?
Forte. Forte?
Yeah, so if
Forte?
it's loud, it would be forte. So you'd see this like F. If you think it's soft, what would it be if it was like medium soft?
Like,
It'll be
wait.
MP.
Yep.
Medium,
You can say
can't
mezzo
say it.
piano.
Yeah.
Mezzo piano.
Mezzo piano.
Or you can say medium soft. Yeah. MP.
Medium soft.
You got it. So see how it's kind of arbitrary? It's really whatever you think it is. But if I were to ask you to defend, like, oh, why'd you say it was medium soft? Just like tell me. But
Because it's like
yeah.
some birds, they like far, but like once like some birds that be like outside your window right on the tree, they be like
Right.
But
Being
some birds,
obnoxious.
they be like kind of far and they sound like more softer.
Yeah. All right, now imagine this Camaro, a really fancy car. How loud would the car be? Yeah, if you're revving up the engine.
I say gradually get louder. Crescendo.
Yeah, okay, you're one step ahead of me again. So, yeah, so the crescendo would be when you rev it up, it gradually get louder. You're right. So then what dynamic overall would be a loud car?
Just a loud
F,
part.
I'll
a
say
forte.
F for F.
Yep, you got it. So forte or fortissimo.
Fortissimo.
Yeah. And then how fast would the car be going on the highway?
Like
Fast.
the sound, right? Like, I don't really know.
Imagine
Probably
like
like-
120
I'll say
miles per hour.
Like very
pesto.
loud fortissimo or like
Yeah, so now we're
medium-
thinking of speed.
I'd say P for pesto for fast.
Yes, I agree with Mark. So, the dynamics are the words like piano, forte, all that. The ones that describe how fast are like the presto, allegro, allegretto, these ones down here. Yeah. So I would say presto, I agree. Okay, so does that make sense how you were saying dynamic words? What are you talking about? Tempo is how fast?
Wow. Where did presto all that come from?
That's
It came from the first video.
Oh yeah, you didn't see it because you couldn't hear it. So let me go back to that slide. We don't need to watch the whole video, but so the way you describe speed is with these words.
Take these notes.
So the worksheet
Snail.
has these in parentheses. It has what the English means. So if you don't remember all of them, that's okay.
Allegro, allegretto. Okay, fairly quick. Wow. These are some wonderful words. These are some big words. See, now you added into my big vocabulary.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
All right, cool. So yeah, presto's the fastest, largo's the slowest. All right, going back to the examples. That's why Mark said a really fast car would be presto. Does that make sense?
Yeah, good job, Mark.
Cool.
I'm so proud of you.
So then the other word, do you see how the word accelerate and the word accelerando have like the same beginnings, 6 or 7 letters?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that means they have the same Latin root. So Italian came from Latin and parts of English came from Latin, this really old language. So what does accelerate mean?
To get faster.
Yeah. So what part of a car would be an accelerando?
The engine.
Accelerator, like the accelerate pedal.
Yeah. So when you hit the gas pedal and the engine speeds up.
Oh.
Yeah.
See,
Good
man,
job.
I'm like,
Good job. So think accelerate, accelerando. That's nice thing about even some Spanish words. I think they're called. What are they called? I don't remember the name of them right now, but they're
fortissimo.
similar to English words, so you can kind of guess the meaning, you know? Okay. How fast would my coffee maker brewing my coffee be?
It will be
I would say it would be
adagio.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Adagio.
And that means kind of
Adagio.
like pretty slow. right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you agree, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you said Largo, that would be fine too. You know. On Dante, you can imagine that means walking speed, so it doesn't quite, brew as fast as the speed you walk. So yeah, good. All right. How fast would this yellow cake be baking?
Photo. Abby, what do you do?
Largo.
Yeah, because it takes like hours.
Plus.
So very
It
slow.
does that, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna show
Well,